So when they get things fixed and repaired, you can say, hey, look, this is what I had. You have it. I want it back. Is your personal data safe? Family records, addresses, phone numbers? Well, squeeze on over to freedomslips.com. Yes, that's www.freedomslips.com. Click the banner on the homepage for the EMP-proof bullet drive to get the full scoop of everything that we offer. So, folks, keep your data safe for your peace of mind. Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here. Revolution Radio.
All right. I think that's my intro. All right, we're back for the second half hour. Paul Topete. Oops, what happened here? Okay, yeah, we're still back. Am I still back? Am I still up here?
Yes, I have you.
Okay, all right. Yeah, guys, in the chat room, I'm 5 minutes from the bar on the beach, so yes, that's where I'm at. And bring the hurricane on. I went through Hurricane Andrew, I ain't worried about it. Now, Paul Topete, as this first hour was going up, I talked a little bit about how I've been attacked, and now I think you've been introduced into what I went through with, what I've gone through, and you're going through it now too. You are being attacked, and you've been in this Patriot movement as long as I have, and everybody knows about your music. Everybody knows about what you're trying to do. But when you put on the Freedompalooza, suddenly it seemed like your friends just kind of started drying up, shriveling up, and blowing away. What happened, Paul?
I wouldn't say friends. I wouldn't say friends, brother. I would say hanger-ons, man. Those that have pretended to be friendly but really aren't. There weren't that many of them. There's only 3, and in the end, it made the party better because it shook out the pussy patriots out of the event, man.
Alright, don't know where the echo is coming from, but we'll try to fix that. We'll try to fix
Yeah,
that.
it's just your microphone's picking up your speakers late, not so.
Okay.
You're gonna have to move your microphone around or something. There you go, that's better. Well, I think so, but
Alright.
I'm still hearing myself.
Alright, still trying to do everything here. Everything looks like
Okay.
it's going. Alright, Paul, probably the most disappointing for me was Larry Pratt canceling. I mean, Larry and I have been, we've been demonized by the same people at the same time in the NAACP. They tried to portray me and Larry, as racist. And this was more your Southern poverty law kind of backstabbing, rumor mongering, isn't it? I mean, aren't we talking about the same people? These are, in a way, I got to thinking about it, maybe I'm better off than I actually thought, because Southern poverty law is now providing both you and I with millions of dollars worth of word perception or notoriety. Maybe it might backfire on.
I think that's what's happening, brother, because they keep trying to paint me with all these labels that I'm not. I mean, they call me a neo-Nazi, they call me a white cake supremacist leader. I'm like, really? I'm just an American, no hyphen, So they try to call you names and pin you names, say I'm racist, and then there's my black brother on stage filming us. So it's like, really? I don't know. It is what it is. That's all they got, brother. And the thing with Larry Pratt is, what kills me is these Jews have called Pratt's organization, Jewett Rhodes' organization, Sheriff Mack's organization, domestic terrorist outfits, okay? Their character's been impugned by these Bolshevik pieces of crap, and yet the people that are supposed to save us from these big gun grabbers are all of a sudden going to save us. You know, if they can't even talk to these Bolsheviks or even stand up to them with words, how the hell are they going to stand up to them when they come for the guns? And the more I look into it, it looks like these douchebags are going to be giving them the list of all their memberships. So your address, your telephone number, all the types of guns, the gun groups that you belong to are going to be turned over to the Bolshevik Department of Homeland Security. Okay? So people, if you belong to any of these groups, Constitutional Sheriffs, Peace Officers Association run by Mack, Sheriff Mack, Larry Pratt's Gun Owners of America, the last real gun organization of America, and Jewett Rhodes' Oath Keepers organization. Get out. Get out now while you still can. Dude, they cave on words. These are our warriors caving on words. All right, dude, I didn't ask any of these people coming to speak what their position was on the Holocaust. I didn't ask what their position was on the Tooth Fairy and Santa Claus or Christ. But the Jews made them dance because they made them say, like, you got to bow down on the altar of Holocaustianity, otherwise you don't get any more shekels.
Well, that's the way they've always done it. That's why they call me anti-Semitic. You know, I don't care. I'm not racist and I'm not anti-Semitic. I don't care. If you are trying to enslave me, if you're trying to get an extra 10% out of me, you know, and it ain't in the contract, then you're a con artist. You're trying to screw up me. Now, it's interesting. I've had Oath Keepers on. I've had Sheriff Mack. I've supported Sheriff Mack's organization. I think that should. I think that.
So yeah.
You know, and gun owners. At least every time Larry's been on my show, he's been saying the same thing. But I had one of my magazines sold for $500,000, and I still owned 50% of it. Contract was signed in my briefcase, and I walked in the office on Monday, and the CEO's white and shaking. I can't go through with it, Clay. My stock's crashing like a rock. They've contacted every stockholder in the company to tell them what an anti-Semite you are. Now, when something like that happens, folks, how do you deal with it? How do we deal with that, Paul? I mean, how do you deal with this? I watched everything I've built over the last 20 years crumble and collapse in 3 months. And nobody, no Alex Jones, nobody in the Patriot movement stepped in and said, hey, Clay, you know, glad to see you made it. Can we help?
Well, you find out who your friends are, and through all of this, I found out that I got a lot of cool friends, man, and they stood with me, and they're standing with me, and they're actually, a lot of them are in groups like Gun Owners and Oath Keepers, and they're actually, like, going in and telling their membership base, like, what a bunch of wusses these leaders are. You know, if they can cave to these Bolshevik leaders that want to kill you, want to disarm you, but they can't even fight back with words, so what good are they? Pratt, I've sent thousands, if not tens of thousands, of new members over the 2 decades that we've helped them out. Mac, we brought him the first time that, you know, we really had anything to do with him. We threw a gun rally in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania in October of 2000 called the Rally in the Valley. 3,500 people showed up for it. Mac spoke at it. We paid for him to come out. So even in his earliest of careers, I and my group have helped us out. So you would think that these brothers would have my back, but no, man, not when it comes to the kosher mafia, man. The kosher mafia made them bow down on this altar of Holocaustianity, where the only question that makes you whether you're subhuman or human is whether you believe in the Holy Host myth or not. And if you don't, then you get to be branded a subhuman, a ne'er-do-well, lesser than you know, even lesser than a cow. And you know what, dude? I'm an American, I'm no hyphen, and I'm battling back. If God needs to use us as the little Davids against the big Jew Goliath to destroy the myth,
Because if the myth is not destroyed, brother, then people are going to be going to jail here in America for words, for thoughts, for speech crimes.
They've
and,
already
the whole
done that.
Holocaust shit,
They kidnapped. They kidnapped Ernst Zundel from his wife's home in Tennessee, shipped him to Canada, shipped him to Germany, just so they could persecute a 70-year-old man. I'm looking for answers, Paul. Now, one of the things that I propose, I've come to the conclusion, with all the people that I've interviewed on my show, I've come to the conclusion that we've had the technology that we need to break free. We could grow hemp, we could burn hemp oil, we could make, run our trucks on a diesel that we created in our own yard. All of this is possible. We've had the technology, and now we've even, how do you fight the Federal Reserve? They issue you the money. They loan your government the money, so they can, you can pay it back for them. But we've got 3 companies now, 3 organizations that are issuing their own hours. Ithaca over there in New York, Ithaca Hours, Mile High Money, and there's Hemet Hours too in California. This could go viral. This could happen in every county. Now, if you're growing your own food and generating your own electricity, you don't need the government for much. To me, that
right.
and the 9th plank on Communist Manifesto is corporate farms, and it's pretty well documented. Not, I mean, you can't even. You can't be brain dead enough to not to understand that Monsanto is killing you. They're responsible for Agent Orange. They're responsible for Roundup. They're responsible for genetically modified foods. They aren't the good guys, folks. And the 9th plank on Communist Manifesto is corporate farms. So if we're going to fight communism, I believe we have to take back our family farms, reinforce our family farms. Now, I tried to do that in New Mexico, but everybody said we can't drive that far, Clay. We can't. It's 30 miles out to your house. We can't do that. So why can't we bring the country into the city? Grow food, not grass. And I've got photos. These people are doing that in Pasadena. On 1/10 of an acre, one backyard, they're producing 6,000 pounds of food. What they did when the communists took over in Ukraine was starved 10 million Ukrainians. A few of them might have been Jews. But we know that 40 million Christians were somehow killed, murdered, sacrificed in the Soviet Revolution, the Bolshevik Revolution, the Jewish Revolution. Why do we think it won't happen here? I think it is happening here, and this is what I'm fighting for. This is why I supported you and the Freedompalooza, because James Traficant knows what's going on too. He was speaking there. And I'm just shocked that the other people that I've supported over the years would walk away from that. It's like, when I started the Free American, when I tried to start the Free American back up after 4 months of being hospitalized, nobody wanted to advertise. Every advertiser was contacted my motorcycle magazine, and I lost them all in about 1 month. Is that what they're doing with you too?
Well, brother, they've always tried to attack our gigs. I mean, that's how they affect us, where they either try to scare the owner of the establishment, they try to scare the organizer of the event, or they'll start contacting the vendors. Sometimes they win, most times they don't, because most people are starting to get sick and tired of their heavy-handedness and overplaying their cards. What I'm seeing is waking up everywhere, and Dude, you can only cry wolf so many times before people start going like, really? Now, what is it now? You know?
Well, it's one of the, you know, you get, after you've been doing this for 20 years, you start feeling like you're a little bit ineffective, you know. Well, there's no use in this. There's nothing more. That's what they want you to feel like. In truth, your music, Carl Klang's music, my radio shows, my television shows, my videos, my magazines have reached a hell of a lot of people. Now, they don't want to tell you about it, but just like I said about the ADL, you know, they want to list me in armed and dangerous. They list the Free American. Free American is, first, if you type in Free American, guess what comes up on Google? So they've given me some advertising. They've given me some promotion. And I even called them up, Paul. I called them up in New York. I said, hi, this is Clay Douglas. I just wanted to let you guys know that you finally got something right. I am armed, and if you mess with my country or my family, I'm definitely dangerous. Click. You know, we have been telling people the truth for 20 years. I told people the truth in the Free American, and we got an audience. Ron Paul was a subscriber for years. Now, he may be a flake, too. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, maybe he's in on the Masonic thing. Maybe he and Alex Jones are signed to the Patriot movement. Because when I went to his expo up in up north, there along beside the Democratic convention or Republican convention, the Ron Paul's people wouldn't let me sing. He'd been a subscriber of mine for 10 years. Why are they so, why is this old Texas biker such a threat to them? I mean, I certainly don't get up and do radio, I mean, I don't get up and do concerts like you guys. You're reaching people.
Right.
Is it because I talk about the Jews, or is it because I actually have solutions here? I mean, this Liberty Village concept, if we do that neighborhood by neighborhood, say, hey, let's work together. Let's buy our food at wholesale from reliable sources. Let's help our farmers out here by buying their food direct. Let's, if you're good with your tools, get in the co-op and sell solar panels. And let's try being a little bit more self-sufficient rather than the hypnotized Hollywood look of program television viewers.
Talmud vision, man.
Talmud vision, that's what it is.
Well, brother, I think the thing that concerns them the most about us is I can bring people together, brother. I can bring black, white, I can bring left, right, I can bring gay, straight, Jew, and everybody else together. And you know what the cool thing about Freedompalooza is? Everybody pays their way to go there. We don't have money to pay anybody, so the people that come there come of their own volition. And if I can get people to come freely to speak, you know, where I'm not even, you know, having to afford them to come to speak, then what does that say about, you know, me, where they like me enough, appreciate me enough, that I'm throwing an event that they want to be a part of. So when money doesn't talk anymore, it scares the hell out of them, because, you know, that's how they control people, and that's how they're controlling Mac, that's how they're controlling Pratt, that's how they're controlling Jewett Rhodes, man. It's all about the shekels to them, man. A friend of mine just called Sheriff Mac a Patriot panhandler, man, because he was at this one function, and he was begging for donations, man. It's like, oh, no, he was charging for his signature, man. Like he's a rock star now.
Well, you know, I've been told, you can't believe how many times I've been told, Clay, you could just do so much better if you didn't talk about the Jews. If you just didn't talk about the Jews, you could do so much better. I'm sorry. You know, I'm going to talk about it. I mean, if you can talk about the Muslims, if CNN can talk about the Muslims, if CNN can talk about Al-Qaeda, if CNN can talk about, you know, Christians that burnt the Koran, why can't we talk about Jews? As Voltaire said, that...
Yeah, man, why can't we talk to 80% of the crime?
Okay, what? Repeat that?
I was basically saying that, yeah, you made me lose my train of thought, man. Ask the question again, brother. I'm sorry.
This is a standard tactic. I mean, I've watched them do it to, you know, through history books, to all the way back to the Tsar. I mean, the Jews declared war on the Tsar before World War I. Full-page ads in the New York Times.
See, the Jews declared war on Hitler in '33, man, long before the war started.
That's right. And they were advertising for 6 million Jews who were being tormented in Russia by about 1903, I think. We donated $1 billion to participants in our two-party system. Where'd that money go? Where'd that $2 billion go? It went right into the advertising, the New York Times, the CNN, the ABC. It went into right into their pockets. And they told you, they didn't tell you about Gary Johnson, who would legalize marijuana all over this country, which I believe is exactly what we should be doing, exactly right now. Anytime a man with a badge can walk up and arrest you for what you got in your pocket, that's a police state, and we can't do that anymore. We can't put up with that anymore. And of course, I'll be demonized for telling you that. Oh, Clayton, legalize drugs. Yeah, you're damn right I do. At the turn of this century, before the Federal Reserve took over, you could go into the drugstore and get your wife some laudanum. You could go to your dinners and get yourself some cocaine. And hemp was made up, but was a part of every drug in the drugstore. And I don't think we certainly weren't drug addicts.
It's what cures all, man.
We weren't drug addicts back then.
Hey man, somebody told me a long time ago, something doesn't make sense, like why is a plant outlawed? It's because some Jews making a buttload of money from it. And what kills me is most Americans don't realize that it was the Bolshevik Jews who mass murdered over 100 million white and mainly Christian folk in Russia, Ukraine, Eastern Europe. Their Zionist cousins murdered another 100 million through 2 banker wars. And what these folks don't understand is, it's not the Latvians who hate them, it's not the Micronesians who hate them, or the Mexicans that hate them, it's the Jews that hate them, and they want to do away with the white race. Their words, not mine. Okay, they have bragged that this is the last generation of whites to be born. Okay, that they think that miscegenating out the white race is a beautiful thing to do. Okay, so all these Americans are like, oh, it's not the Jews. It's not. No, dude, it is the Jews, secular and rabbinical leadership. I want to share a couple quotes, man. This one's from a Jew Harvard professor, the founder of a journal called Race Trader, which has this motto: treason to whiteness is loyalty to humanity. He goes, now this is a Jew, not a Mexican, not a Latvian, all right? The goal of abolishing the white race is on its face so desirable that some may find it hard to believe that it could incur any opposition other than from committed white supremacists. The key to solving the social problems of our age is to abolish the white race. Make no mistake about it. We intend to keep bashing the dead white males, and the live ones, and the females too, until the social construct, which is a Jew terminology, the social construct known as the white race is destroyed. Not deconstructed, but destroyed. Okay, what Christian, what American has ever said anything close to us as nauseating as that? And he's not the only one. I can give you quote after quote about this, but all the people in the background are like, oh, it's the good Jews, it's not the Jews. No, dude, it's the Jews. Wake the F up, man, okay? Because they want to kill you, genocide you. The Department of Homeland Security is riddled with dual loyalist traitors from the top to bottom. It has nothing to do with Homeland Security because everybody on the list are the people that created this country. Whites, Christians, conservatives, anybody that believes in forefatherism, the Constitution. Okay, so everything that was the enemy of the Bolsheviks in Russia are now the enemies here in the USA. Okay, so America, wake up.
And
okay,
how about
taking
taking it right?
Everything's okay.
How about listening a little bit to a real Jew, actually an honest Jew, by the name of Benjamin Friedman. He was a Jewish historian, researcher, scholar. He said Christians have been duped by the unholiest hoax in all history by so-called Jews. This is considered their most effective weapon. The big lie technique, brainwashing a United States Christian into believing Jesus Christ was the king of the Jews, in the sense that the so-called Jews today call themselves Jews. This reference was first made in the English translation of the Old and New Testament centuries before so-called Jews hijacked the word Jew in the 18th century to palm themselves off on the Christian world as having a kinship with Jesus Christ. Now, this is and he goes on to say the kinship comes from the myth of their common ancestry with the so-called Jews of the Holy Land in the Old Testament. And that's fiction based on fable. He says American Christians little suspect they're being brainwashed 24 hours every day over television, radio, newspaper, magazines, motion picture plays, by books, by political leaders in office and seeking office, by religious leaders in their pulpits and outside their churches, by leaders in the field of education inside and outside their curricular activity, and by all leaders in business, professions, and finance whose economic security demands that they curry the favor of so-called Jews of historic Khazar ancestry. This is written in about the 1950s.
Not even Semite.
Excuse me?
No, I was just adding to what you just said, brother, so continue.
Well,
this
is what they've done to us. They have taken over our Christian churches. Right. And by the way, Cornwallis, I believe it was Cornwallis, warned Washington about what would happen if the Jews brought their religion, this Judeo-Christian fallacy that poses Christianity. He told me that, you know, in 200 years you'll be working for the Bank of England.
Yeah, there's no such thing as this thing called Judeo-Christianity, man. You can't have the devil and Christ in the same word.
That's right. I've told people that.
Hello?
If you say I'm a Judeo-Christian, you might as well be saying I'm a satanic Christian.
I'm a Jew. Yeah, I'm a Jew. Please.
Now,
no, but unfortunately, we don't have really good Christian leaders anymore, man. So most Christians are left adrift and not told where to study, how to study, what to study.
Well,
so you know, they go along with he who blesses Israel will be blessed, and he who curses Israel will be cursed. I'm like, yeah, you idiot. That was said in the first chapter, well, not first chapter, but in the first book of Genesis, and by the Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 8, he's already divorcing himself from these groups of so-called people of his, because they're already worshiping other pagan gods. So, like, that blessing is gone, okay? And chosen is a verb, not a noun. Chosen he chose the family of Jacob to you know, share with the world that he lives and exists and he loves us, not to become a noun, some chosenite asshole to be supreme over everybody else, which is, dude, I can start going down a list of quotes of Jewish leaders of how much they think of you and I, okay? Again, what Christian says this kind of nonsense?
They don't. And this is who we're in a war with. And Jesus told us right up front, this is, beware the Jews who say they are Jews, but are not, are of the synagogue of Satan. Satanic worship is one of the oldest forms of religion, and one of the things I intend to do in this next year, Paul, is put aside the idea that Lucifer was ever the devil. It was only mentioned once in the Bible, and I think what they've done is take somebody or an angel that was fighting for people on Earth, keep us from being slaves to this system, and he got demonized for it. But that's a fiction book that I'm working on. Started out as science fiction a few years ago, but the more I research it, the more I find out it's becoming true. I wrote about, in one of my series that'll be released here, I wrote about the United States when marijuana was legal in 46 states and illegal in 4. That was science fiction 45 years ago, Paul. Today, we've got 19 states that it's almost legal in. We've got 19 states where you don't necessarily automatically become a criminal if you got a joint in your pocket. And so maybe we have made progress here. Maybe we are going to this. If we abolish all the laws against victimless crimes, we could clean out our prisons. We could shut down this insane prison bureaucracy. We make more than license plates. Sacrifice your children today. It's and who's behind it? The advertising, the promotions, the media. The Rothschilds bought Reuters News before 1900. So we're not, we can't do it by voting. You can't vote them out because you don't know who to vote for. They don't tell you.
Well, no, they've selected all the horses in the race anyway, man.
That's right. I just shared Chuck Baldwin's lament about.
Hey, I want to.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Chucky's a wuss when it comes to talking about the Jews too, man. You know, I've scolded him numerous times over that issue. No, I want to read some more about these lovely Jews everybody keeps defending. Okay.
Okay.
This comes from a magazine that was in the, I think, the 30s. It was called the Defender magazine, October 1933. Now, most people when they murder them in the back of the head, they quickly murder them, right? Not the Jews, man. The Jews love. I mean, you got to watch Dexter to see the kind of psychopathy that is behind the mentality, which is what is bred from Talmudism, okay, which is the books of the Talmud and the Kabbalah, okay, which allows these people to be supremacists against us and to look at us like sheep and cattle. So when they kill us, it's like killing a cow for supper, man. So I'm going to read from the Defender magazine, 1933, talking about the mass murders of the white Christians in Russia. The Jews were now free to indulge in their most fervent fantasies of mass murder of helpless victims. Christians were dragged from their beds, tortured, and killed. Some were actually sliced into pieces, bit by bit. Oh man, I just lost my spot. It's sick stuff, man. I really don't like to read it. Okay. Others were placed in boxes with only heads, hands, and legs sticking out. Then hungry rats were placed in their boxes to gnaw upon their bodies. Some were nailed to the ceiling by their fingers or feet and left hanging until they died of exhaustion. Others were chained to the floor and left hanging until they. Others were chained to the floor and hot lead poured into their mouths. Many were tied to horses and dragged through the streets of the city, while Jewish mobs attacked them with rocks and kicked them to death. Christian mothers were taken to a public square and their baby snatched from their arms. A red Jewish terrorist would take the baby and hold it by the feet, head downward, and demand that the Christian mother deny Christ. If she would not, he would toss the baby into the air, and another member of the mob would rush forward and catch it on the tip of his bayonet. Pregnant Christian women were chained to trees and their babies cut out of their bodies. There were many places of public execution in Russia during the days of the Revolution, one of which was described by the American Rohrbach Commission. The whole cement floor of the execution hall of the Jewish Cheka of Kiev was flooded with blood. It formed a level several inches. It was a horrible mixture of blood, brains, and pieces of skull. All the walls were bespattered with blood. Pieces of brain and scalps were sticking to them. A gutter of 25 centimeters wide by 25 centimeters deep and about 10 meters long was all along its length, full to the top with blood. Some bodies were disemboweled. Others had limbs chopped off. Some literally were hacked to pieces. Some had their eyes put out. The head, face, and neck trunk were covered with deep wounds. Further on, we found a corpse with a wedge driven into the chest. Some had no tongues. In the corner, we discovered quantity of dismembered arms and legs belonging to no bodies that we could locate. Okay, this is sickness. Not only do they just murder you, but they torture you, and the level of depravity that they torture you with is disgusting. And this is coming to America, you idiots. Wake up, okay? What they did to the white Christian Russians, what they did in the last 20th century, where they mass murdered over 200 million whites, where we went from 25% of the world population to less than 9% now, and you tell me to care about 80,000 that died in the work camps? Dude, wake up. Okay? Stop buying the Talmud Vision Kabbalah lies. You're in the soma coma, drugged up to a stupor.
What is it, Paul? What is it? Do they have such sophisticated technology that they can actually influence our thought patterns from the television? Or have people just been that dumbed down? And I've also said it may be that if they admit to themselves, well, you know, I used to think Clay was really weird, but I've been reading this and hearing this and hearing that, and you know, he's not that far off, I don't think. You know, is that? I think that is happening. I think we are having an effect. I think these people that did the Ithaca Hours did it 22 years ago because they saw what's coming now. And that means that we've got a way to do this. This lady just sent me this picture of grow a garden, not grass. And that's what we're recommending for the whole Liberty Village co-op thing. If we just Maybe this is the way we can fight evil without becoming evil. We just stop fighting. We just pull away from it. What can we do to make ourselves more self-sufficient? You know, I got to put we got to start driving diesel and making the French fry juice into fuel. I mean, that's why diesel invented the thing. So we just, it's really, I think it's a matter of changing. We've been programmed. They lured our young people out of the city, into the cities. You know, how are you going to get them back on the farm after they've seen Paris? And we've got to turn that around. And I think the opportunity is here right now when people see what they've done to you for just trying to put on a good time. I mean, that's really all these expos ever were. It was a good time. Get a chance to hear people, get a chance to buy some things, get a chance to see something else. It was a good thing when I put on the Free American Expos. It's a good thing what you did. And why would they attack us for that? Because we talk about Jews. They talk about Muslim. I made a deal. Look.
But we talk about.
I told them I'll stop talking about the Jews.
Most of the time I don't talk about Jews because
I've told them I'll stop.
Look, I'll stop talking about the Jews when they stop being criminals, man. But no, we talk more about solutions. We talk more about community. Look, the best thing that we can do is get to know your neighbors. Try to get them involved in local farming so that each one of you produce some kind of crop that you can all trade and barter with. It has to start at the community level. It has to, like your Freedom Village ideas. It's a good step along that process. But we need to press the flesh, man. Right now, we've become such a technocratic type of society where we're all in our little boxes behind the computers and we don't get out anymore. And one of the things that the party was to be able to bring people together so you actually, like, meet that voice on the other end of Skype or that email or that, that letter. It's like you can actually, like, hey, you live, you exist, let me hug you, let me care that you are, a fellow American with me. Let's fight this together now. I don't feel so alone.
I think that's exactly what I just said, and the thing, I'm working on a flyer right now, Paul, about this. All I want is for us to be more together, working together. And I've got people in the chat room, you poor people, filled with fear, fearing an entire race, filled with hate for an entire race. I feel sorry for you. Well, you know what? I hate thieves. I hate criminals. I hate liars. I hate tyrants. And because I took an oath, I
Amen.
tried to defend you people against something like that. And thank you, Poker Kid. There, some call it communism. I call it Judaism. That was Rabbi Weiss. We're talking about an antichrist religion. And the advocates of that religion brag about, we're glad we killed him. We're glad we did that. No, I'm sorry, man. I'm not going to stand by and ignore those kind of attacks. I'm not going to. If you can join, if you're Jewish and you join the ADL, why would you have a problem with me joining the Aryan Nations or the KKK or any? Maybe I could make it into a better thing. Maybe I could do that. And a woman suggested, when I said, how do you fight evil without becoming evil, she suggested, don't fight. Now, I think that's a good idea, and I think that's what we are going to do with this Liberty Village Co-op. This ain't Clay Douglas's thing, so don't do any good to put me down for coming up with the idea. And I couldn't have done it without Revolution Radio, because they can put the databases together. They can now you can sign up. Now you can become a part of this. You know, somebody else, other people are going to be handling it. They've got a vested interest in getting the truth out to you. That's all I want. I want the truth. You know, if it's the Muslims I should be worried about, fine, give me all the information. If I think it's the Jews, based on my research, that you need to worry about, I'm certainly going to give you that information. That don't mean I hate anybody. Aaron Russo was a good man. Benjamin Friedman was a good man. You've got the ability. Well, you're put on this planet. You don't have a whole lot of say who your mother and grandmother were sleeping with. You're put on this planet, man, and you got free will. You can choose to be good or evil. Paul's chosen to be good. I've chosen to be good. And this central bank that our founding fathers warned us about, they warned us that about the banks and the corporations. Don't do it. Don't let them issue your money. And we did. Now we got to take it back. The Federal Reserve just got a 100-year extension because all of their employees in the Congress, they're all they when you got your own money, how to call Klang said, you know, pretty soon you can buy up the whole neighborhood when you print your own money. That's what we're against. And the people that are behind it, the Jews have historically, they've been the Pharisees. They've been the ones that wrote the Koran. They're the ones that the scribes that Jesus warned you about, and the banksters that Jesus warned you about. You know, this is the words of Jesus, as Thomas Jefferson used them in the Thomas Jefferson Bible, is what we should be going by. And the rest of that it's pretty simple. What you should be supporting, folks, and you can do this in this new Liberty Village Co-op, what you should be supporting is the Bill of Rights. And I mean entirely. You can't make a plant. You can't make a substance illegal. If I want to use this substance, if I want to buy this substance, that's free trade. And if I want to use it for good, my privilege. If I want to use it for bad, then you've got the right to track me down and hang me. If you're not hurting anybody else, you know, there is no reason for somebody to have access to kick in the doors to your home to see if you got anything you shouldn't have. See if that shotgun had more than a quarter-inch. Doesn't have that quarter-inch. Whoa! Boy, you're going to get $1 million. after being in jail for 2 or 3 years and having your wife and children almost killed. This is how they work against you, folks. Now, I think the only way we can handle this is we have the ability for instant communication. We have the ability to issue our own money. It's backed by your labor. This is ours. 1 hour is worth $10. Here it is. And if you can go spend that $10 for me.
Notes were great, man.
Huh? What's that?
Ithaca Notes were great, man. They did some down here in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Ithaca Notes?
Yes.
That's where it started at. Yeah, Ithaca Notes, brother.
22 years.
It's something that every local community, especially those that have...
22 years.
Man.
22 years they've been working. He was just on my show. Now that's going in. That's going in. Here's what's happening, Paul. I think if we don't work together, we're all going to die alone. They're going to hang us alone. I've watched them do that. That's how they've silenced me, because I was all alone. Well, I'm not alone no more. I'm not alone no more, and I'm going to get you an
I'm not
article.
alone anymore either, brother.
I'm going to get you an article out. I'm going to get flyers out, and if you pass these flyers, if you pass them around in your neighborhood, if you put them up at your grocery store, and you recruit some members to the co-op, you'll be able to buy things cheaper. You'll be able to work together. You'll know if your neighbor fixes lawnmowers. And
yeah, anything that you can trade and barter with, brother.
That's right.
Any talent that you have, my hour, my time for 1 hour of your time. I can do massage, you can do plumbing. Great. Okay, I'll buy the parts, and we'll trade each other's labor, man, because my labor is equal to your labor. It's a beautiful way to work it out, man, and
yeah.
that's how I've been living most of my life, man. You know, I work for my friends that have the skill or talent that I need, and I usually do it first to set the standard, and then it seems to work pretty good. Also in our world, a man's word means what it is, and when I shake on a person's hands, it's like as good as gold. Otherwise, I'm not going to shake, and I'm not going to say or not swear on something, but I'm not going to say it and state it if I don't mean it. So we got to get back to where we don't need you contracts anymore. Where if your words and your actions don't work together, then I don't want to really know you, man. People that do business with Pokerface, your word means it. Otherwise, we move on from you. All you got to do is screw us once, and we won't even look your way anymore, man.
Well, I want Pokerface as soon as we get the databases set up, and that won't be long. I'll set the you'll be able to join the co-op. Probably $51 for 1 year, or $50 for a year. That's what they get for the food co-op in Oklahoma. So in Oklahoma, we don't have to set up a co-op, but we need one in Texas. We need one in every county, and we can work with the Ithaca hours. We can work with our own notes, or we can do it county by county. Your sheriff signs the notes, and then they become legal tender. Not competing with dollars. This is your labor. What is the value in your labor? Here's 1 hour labor. This is just a good figure. Now, you know, you want to charge $30 for an hour to fix a computer. If you're the only one that can fix that computer, you might be able to get away with that. You know, I certainly, you know, I think my time in putting all of this stuff together and doing all the research, we're going to be providing that. That's part of what's going to be provided. I've got years of study. I've got years of interviews with people. You know, just like one of them talked about the wrapping your.
Hey, let me.
Go ahead, Paul. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Let me share with you, man. It's like one of the things that God's blessed me with is I'm good with my hands. It doesn't matter if it's a musical instrument or if it's a human body to work on. That computer guy might want to charge $30 an hour, think he has more of a skill labor, but when that brother has a crushing headache and no pills take that pain away, and he can come to my house and within 30 minutes I can bring the color back to his face and destroy the pain that he came in, that trumps anything that he might try to charge over me. So that's why people need to respect labor, okay? So an hour job on my house is the same as me working on that person for an hour, because I'm giving you dedicated focus of my attention and my time. So it's the only way that those notes, those Ithaca notes, those local, community notes. Another thing that people should look at, instead of like going to the Free State Project where they corral all the free freedom heads into one state where they do nothing, every state should have a free county project where you try to find the county within your state that has the least amount of people in it and try to move in all the freedom heads into that county, so that way you can start electing your own sheriff, you can start electing people to the school board, and start really affecting at the local level what you do, because you're actually the community and you're representative of that community, and now you can start arresting all these illegal criminals that seem to be able to walk amongst us freely because they own the media or they own the government around us. So become the government. Free county project. It's something that's capable in our lifetime, man.
It's capable right now, and if
starting
you
with your
start
villages,
working
man,
with
at the local county project level,
we're going to use this co-op to inform people. I mean, all of this information is up on the internet. I found it. You can find it. If you want to do all the research yourself, go right ahead. If you want to deal with all the rip-offs, all the con artists, all the beautiful Nigerians, go right ahead, man. But we've solved that. We found people. We got people in Revolution. They can tell you how to grow the right kind of foods, what to do right. We've got videos linked to show you how to put wood chips on your garden, and they don't blow away, and they help you produce a better soil, better food. And we can do this. I mean, it's not. I don't like gardens, but I sure like the tomatoes that came out.
We need to get back to the local level. We need to empower the farmer.
That's what the co-op in Oklahoma is based on. So we will use that model to base this on a worldwide basis. But we're still going to do it county by county. The only people I really want to deal with in a county is the sheriff. The movement's there. Whether Richard Mack is, I know what they're doing. They're walking on eggshells here because suddenly they're dependent on their donations, and if they go after them the way they went after me, they won't have any donations. So I understand that, but we still have to counter that. And I think the way we counter it is with this Liberty Village Co-op. If it's good for me, it's going to be good for you. We're working together.
Pretty much, brother.
And it's taking us away from dependency on the government, and it's taking us away from dependency on the Federal Reserve note. If you don't like the Federal Reserve, let's just stop using it. Let's form this co-op and trade Ithaca hours or mountain hours. Let's trade that for, let's trade in our Federal Reserve notes. Well, you can still use them for a while, unless they crash and they hold stock. But this is something we can do, and making a solar panel, setting up a windmill, setting up a pretty little decorative windmill with a alternator on it. Can we do that? Don't you know people that can do
all of them, man.
And there are counties, there are cities right now that are passing laws saying, don't come in here and we can grow our own food. We can grow whatever we want here. It's so legislation is coming along with that. We've got answers here, folks. Paul, I appreciate your courage. I appreciate what you've done. and hopefully I'll be able to speak and we'll be able to promote the
Thank you, sir.
Liberty Village thing at your next Freedompalooza.
Love it, brother. Hope to have you speak at it one of these years, man.
All right, sir. Looking forward to it. God bless you.